Hi. Didn't see you there. My name's Jake Mooney. Welcome to Mooney Recordings. Today, we're going to do a little mix review / song review breakdown for you. Hope you enjoy.
Call out his name, yell it in strings for all the world to see. Baby, it comes down to one word, and that's recovery.
Dive in.
Put her there, pal. All right, dude. When I texted you that was so funny. All right, let's take a
Tabletop turkey, baby.
tabletop turkey. You and I together, we're like a turducken. All right, so this is Soccer Mom, Julianne Blue. What we're looking at, you can see that up there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that way you can see my screen. Cool. So I did an album for her, Julianne Blue. She is a riot. She is so much fun to work with. She is insane. I am fairly young, and she exhausts me, even though she's like 52. And she's going to kill me. That's I just said her age.
You never tell a woman's age, Jake.
Dude, it's 2020.
It's 2020.
It's
That
2020.
means... what does that mean?
I don't know. I'm just saying the year, dude. Interpret that how you will. Let's dive into this project. She has like a 90s vibe with her. And I really wanted to capture that kind of like Pat Benatar, Stevie Nicks, I'm not super well versed in that stuff, but I listened to a couple things that she sent me and that she was going for. I think we nailed it. So I had Lynn Roos and Steve Hatmaker play on it. Lynn played guitar and Steve played drums. Anytime I get to work with those dudes, I love it. I have a lot of fun. So let's just start with the drums. I'll play the drums, what they sound like, and we can go over them.
Shout out Lynn Roos. Shout out Zoo Trippin'.
Zoo Trippin'. Yep. Dude, Lynn's the man. Lynn is so good at guitar, it's not fair.
You
Like,
still got Tony, right? Shout out Tony Casa.
what up, T-Bone? Yeah, I'm so white it hurts. It sucks.
It's all right, bro. I just put a little just a little cape of blackness over you, make you a
Little cape,
tiny-
what? What does it even mean?
Little cape of blackness,
I have been using your lotion, dude.
You'll look like Batman's son,
Damn.
Little cape.
I'm gonna play the drums now.
Reverse swell.
Oh yeah.
Like it. Always a good intro to drums.
Yeah, just like bring it in.
Way to
So I had
introduce it.
this snare bomb track right
Yeah.
here, and then it. Let's see. So I have what I did is I took a snare sample and I reversed it and just played it into it. Here's a soloed. It just real like it's just real cool. It kind of creates a vibe.
Did you duck the actual hit in that reverse?
No, I left it the same. Oh yeah, I did. Yep. Dude, look at you.
It sounded like it.
Yeah, look at you. Well, we had 5 days to do 9 songs. So whenever a client is trying to just rapid fire stuff, a lot of stuff can get overlooked. I'm really thankful that I had Lynn and Steve because they were just super prepared. So we actually tracked the drums and bass together. She had a guy named Steve Parakis who's like a freak when it comes to bass. He's honestly probably the best bass player I've ever recorded. He was so good. But we tracked the drums and bass together. Then Lynn pretty much one-taked everything.
Of course. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's Lynn fucking Roos.
He's a freak, dude.
Can't expect anything else from him.
But yeah, so like the drums, I went like super 90s rock and roll, big roomy sounding.
Yeah, that was the first comment I made the first time I heard this song. Was just like how much of the actual room mic you left in.
Yeah, I just wanted to be super room. So what I did is I took Steve's kick and snare and toms and I overlaid them with samples like I always do. But I left I leave the overhead mics in the room. So like here's the room mics and the overheads together.
And that's Steve, right?
Yep, that's Steve playing. And I'm not doing too much. Like on my drum bus right here, I have it going through this like Brainworks what is this Townhouse bus compressor. It's supposed to be like some sort of vintagey sounding compressor. It's kind of like an SSL, I think, was the vibe that I got from it. So, and I'm barely touching it, just kind of giving it a vibe.
You just use that just for drums?
I've used it on vocals too in Master Bus.
Okay.
It's very colored, like it very saturated. So to create like a vibe, like I wanted kind of a vintagey, kind of warm 90s
Right.
kind of thing that worked out. And then I have it going through this Culture Vulture, which I use on everything. It's just like a low end harmonic distortion kind of thing, and it just warms stuff up. And then I have them going through Refinement, which is like it just saturates the high end. It's like a tube saturation, so that there's harsh frequencies with the cymbals, so it doesn't hurt your ears as much.
Yeah, I remember the first time I ever saw you do that, and I had no idea what you were doing. And you're like, all right, listen to this before. Now listen to this frequency. Now listen to it after. It's just like it cleans it up so much when you completely duck out those frequencies so that the listener can have a much better time experience in that song. That's good production.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I don't want to hurt your ears, and those cymbals can be really bright. And then I have this crazy EQ right here, and I think I'm just ducking. If you listen to that, that's a snare.
Your good old Fab filter. Huh?
Yeah, I love that thing.
Man, what happened to Ozone, bro?
Ozone's cool. Fab Filter though. Fab Filter has my heart.
I've seen nothing but good things about that.
I'm a dirty boy for Fab Filter, if we're being honest. I'll do anything.
things for you if you're listening.
Dude, Fab Filter rips. Like I don't know what I'd do without it. The bass is pretty simple. Like I said, it was all this whole entire album was rapid fire, so it was just trying to create the best thing I can as quick as possible. So I have him going in DI.
I was just about to ask, did you DI?
Yeah, he had some Fender amp that he wanted to use, and we were going to use it, but it was just like a timing thing. It's like, hey, it's going to be way quicker, and I gave him the option of reamping it, and I like to track DI. I have an Avalon, so I'll split out most of the time. Like I'll split out the DI with the real amp. That way I can go back and reamp it, but they can still play with their amp, so they can kind of get that vibe that they're used to. But we just didn't have time because she had 5 days for 9 songs. 5 days for 9 songs, so it's just rapid fire rushing through. But yeah, I use this Ampeg. It's a universal audio plugin. I use it all the time, and then I have them running through this R bass, which is just like. It's like a multi-band compressor, but at one frequency, so at like 93 hertz. I have that frequency just dimed is what it does. So basically, it makes the low end thicker. And then this Pro Q3 again, I'm cutting off super low, like super sub stuff that's muddy, ducking a little bit low mid, and then cutting off the high. You don't need anything above that. And then I have this trim plugin, which is just a cheap way to automate stuff because I'm automating the volume on the bass. Looks like
What's
here.
the plugin?
Trim.
Yeah,
it just there's a way that you can go through. Like I wrote automation, and I forget what command it is. I'd have to look it up. But if you throw trim on it, it's just easier. Like let's say you automate something. Like so, I have this bridge over here, and I automate it down. Once you do that, whenever you change the volume of it, it'll snap back to where it's at. So if you want to turn the whole thing down, I just throw trim on it real quick because it's easier. There's no right or wrong way to do things. It's just whatever works, So that's the workaround that I found for that. But I'll play the drums and bass together. It's pretty straightforward.
very mid-range bass tone.
Yeah, super 90s.
Not too bright, not too bassy either. Though.
No, just laying the foundation.
Very clear definition.
Yeah, so Julie is like in love with Lynn's guitar playing. So Soccer Mom is all about Lynn's guitar. Like Lynn will walk into a room and start playing guitar, and Julie will be talking, and she'll just shut up and just listen to Lynn. Like, so when I mix to my clients' needs, so like or cater to their needs. So basically, like I knew all these mixes going in would be very guitar heavy. So the bass and everything is kind of, you can tell like if an engineer is a guitar player or a drummer based off of their mix most of the time. Because like if someone sends you a mix and it's super guitar heavy, you can tell, oh, he's a guitar player or they're a guitar player. Where like,
except for me when I used to send you all those terrible mixes in GarageBand and the drums were louder than everything else.
I think you just had drum fever, dude. You're like,
I need more cowbell.
at band practice, you'd be like, hey, yo, can I like get on that drum set for a minute? I'd be like, hey, yo, can we like practice?
Yo, the rhythm's in my blood. Fuck off. Let's go.
That South Park episode where like, Cartman, you were right. I do have a bass in my basement. I don't know how to play it though.
Token, you're black. You know how to play the bass.
No, and he just starts shredding. does one of these, dude. You ready for this? You ready? You ready? Wait. Nope. Oh, I tried.
Almost.
No. Oh man. All right, I'm done. Let's get back to work. I hate myself so much. Oh man.
Help. I'm being held here in the address.
No. Shh. I don't have a mute button for you, man. You're in control.
Oh no.
All right, let's talk about how pretty Lynn is. It's 2020. Boys can be pretty too. Lynn is so good at guitar. Listen to this acoustic track. It's so good. He used my D18. It's my first like big boy acoustic that I saved up for. I got it for it's like a $3,000 guitar, and I got it for $1,400 new.
Am I crazy or is that Martin?
It's a Martin, yeah Martin
okay.
D18.
All right.
And all I'm doing is using the Kiwi and the U87, and I just have them spaced pair, like as if, you know, kind of like not super far apart, but like if you had a big head and you were listening to the guitar in a room. And the guitar sounds so great. I'll play it. Oh man, dude,
Great
Lynn.
amount of reverb.
Dude, Lynn, you're so lucky. I got pants on that are not easy to get off right now because that guitar is so good. I'm not busy, Lynn. Call me. You got my number.
Beautifully crystal clear.
Yeah, and a lot of people like frown upon using two different mics for like stuff like that. I think it sounds cool. There's no rules. Like a lot of people are like, oh, you have to have the same mic, spaced pair. Otherwise, you get a different sound. It's like, well, I want a different sound.
Exactly.
You know? I don't want everything to sound the same. I think it's cool.
I mean, and it's like you said, it goes back to preference. It goes back to what works for you as an engineer, as a producer. It also goes back to what works for your client.
Yeah.
Clearly, they were very satisfied with the sound that both of those mics turned out, which I am as well. It's beautifully crystal clear, has a little bit of punch behind it. Really nice. You can hear. You know, I'm assuming you played it in the big room.
Yeah, I used it in my live room. Yeah, I'm not doing too much either. Like, I think the biggest lesson that I could like go back and teach myself is like, whenever it comes to recording anything, get the sound as close to you want it, like wanting it on the start. Like, don't
before you even do anything, so you don't have to revamp the actual sound when you go back in or re-record parts or anything like that.
Exactly, because like having to go back and fix stuff is never fun. Like get the sound that you like starting in. That way, hopefully, you can only make it better.
Right.
And that's what I did on this. Like. But I could not talk. I had too much coffee. That's what I did on this. Like,
you know, monster, dude. Like, what's going on here?
I am
Sponsor me.
I am the monster. I'm inside your ears right now. I'm creeping myself out.
It's become an ASMR session out of nowhere.
I saw you eating that apple, dude.
We definitely should have saved that.
Oh man, that's what my nightmares sound like. But I got the sound going in right, and I just ran them through this Culture Vulture, this plugin. I love it so much. I want to get the real unit someday, but they're like $2,500. But all it does is
for the physical unit.
Yeah, all it does is saturate the plugin's like $300. I had to get it though, because it's the closest thing to it. But all it does is saturate the low end. It just gives you more harmonic content in the low end, and it does it in such a musical way. So I have the acoustic guitar going through that, and that warms it up. And then I have it going through FabFilter, and I'm just cutting off low end. Like you don't need any sub frequencies in your acoustic guitar. So that's literally all I did for the acoustic guitar, and then I'm just sending it to my mix bus, and that's it.
So if you're using the Culture for a better lower end, why cut it out with the Fab filter?
I'm not doing it like the super low. Like it'll distort probably. I mean, it probably distorts the whole signal, but it that super low, like this stuff, I'll solo this. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
You probably can't hear it if you're listening on your phone, but if you're on speakers and headphones, I'll actually turn that up real quick. so you can hear it better. This is like the sub frequency of the acoustic guitar. And I don't need that in the mix. Like,
right.
so
But you're using the vulture to give the actual body of the lower end of the actual sound, not the sub frequency. You're using it to boost that.
yeah, let me play it with and without the culture vulture. So here's the with the culture vulture on. And I'll bypass it now. Turn it back on.
Okay, yeah. It's a little flatter without.
Yeah, it's very subtle, but it kind of just gives it that round. Like a lot of these tweaks are very small, like 5, 6, 7%, like nothing crazy, but it's just all those little things add up to
and make the difference.
Exactly. Yeah. I can't remember who I heard, but somebody was talking about like people complain why their mixes aren't great, but they don't do these little tiny tweaks that add up to be the greatest thing of the entire mix. You know what I mean? Just that little bit beefs it up. And I'm using the culture vulture on other things too, so that harmonic content kind of blends in with other stuff. But long story short, Len is the man. He knocked out that guitar. I mean, look, he did. I didn't quantize anything either because I want it to be raw and organic. So 3 minutes and 24 seconds, he did that whole thing. And then there's like 2 or 3 little comps up here that I had him do because I probably wanted it tighter. But one of the coolest parts of this project was the violin. She had a violin player come in. And I usually I'll just run, like I have a bunch of contact patches of violin, but it was cool. I just used 2 SM81s in the live room and recorded the violin. So here's the main violin track. These are committed, by the way. And then what I did is I took that and I pitched it down an octave. And I put reverse reverb. So together, it's a lot cooler. You know what I mean? It's fuller, and that reverse reverb really helps. And then I also copied the phrasing, the notation that I liked of it, and I had an echo with it. So it's kind of like a call and response. I thought that was really cool. It was like a little intro thing. And then with that, I have this drum beat that Steve played going with it. And you know what that really is? That's seriously like just like a Blink-182 thing. That's seriously like it's
from feeling this. If
yeah,
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's like a mild feeling this. Like it's like a first date. Like, should I hold her hand yet? Should I hold his hand yet? It's kind of like I don't know where this is going. I think he might be stronger than me. Just being dumb. But
Canceled.
what? Canceled. Dude, it's 2020, man. You don't like boys, you're doing it wrong.
Do we have to have this conversation again?
No, I just like saying dumb stuff. I like to have fun. My name's Jake and I like to party. But here's them
Boys and
together.
girls.
So in all it's committed. Like I said, I commit everything. If it sounds good, commit it, move forward, because like that's time and your client's money. And if it sounds good, trust yourself and keep going forward. Your clients will thank you because there's nothing worse than like if you're paying for somebody's time and they're spending 5 hours tweaking a tone.
Right.
Like, oh man, you're out a couple $100 now, and the song is 1% better, or it's probably worse. Honestly, the more time you spend second guessing it, the worse it gets. But all I did was use Lo-Fi. It's a Pro Tools stock plugin. I use it a lot, and you can just Drake's Producer 40 uses this. That's actually where I got it from. You just lower the sample
You say
rate.
40?
Yeah, that's what he does. So like all those Drake beats that they sound underwater, he's not actually EQing them. He's just lowering
it's just a bypass, right?
We're just lowering
Or
the
not a
sample
bypass,
rate. He's this right here, the sample rate. He just lowers it. Here, let me show you what this does. I could get in like the nerdy technical aspect of it, but it'd be super boring. With like how your sample rate dictates like what frequency spectrum you can have. As humans, like the short story is humans hear from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. So if you're in 44 or 48, you basically you get, it has to do with like the rotation of the wave. So the up and down, you get like double the frequency spectrum when it's bounced down or something like that. It's weird. I don't know how to exactly explain it. It makes sense in my head. But whenever you lower the sample rate, you narrow in the frequency band. So like you lose low end and high end, if that makes any sense. So the higher the sample rate, the more frequencies you get. So like that's why a lot of that stuff that's on Blu-ray, it's like 192 sample rate, you get a higher frequency, but humans can only hear from 20 to 20. That's why there's no point to go past CD quality. That's why it hasn't, gotten any better, I guess. But it's hard to explain. But basically, like you just narrow in the frequency band.
Okay, so what I was meaning to say earlier when I said bypass like an idiot is I used to use like a high shelf and a low shelf filter. Mm-hmm. Is it similar to that? Because I know that those can give you like kind of like those washed out sounds or like that like outside of the club type of sound or something
exactly.
like that. Yeah,
that's exactly what it is. So here, I'll put Fab Filter on my master bus and I'm going to tweak this right here, the sample rate knob, and watch what it does. I'll just go over here.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
See how you lose all that treble? You keep most of that low end, but so that's what 40 does. And that's just a cool little trick to filter stuff, and it just I think it creates a way cooler vibe than automating EQ or having an EQ. Lowering the sample rate kind of just it's cooler. That's why a lot of people like two reasons why people like tape and like the vinyl stuff is because you actually on vinyl and tape you actually lose a whole octave, like super low frequencies. I think it's like 50 hertz and below, like it can't reproduce that. So it actually sounds warmer because you don't have those like super muddy frequencies going through it. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I mean, there's no right or wrong way on any of this stuff. But yeah, I filtered his drums. And then I added like a flange filter on it too. And some EQ. That's about it. But let's go back to Lynn because he's the man, the guitar. For his guitar, he has like this rhythm track. I'll play it for you. Actually, this is his rhythm track. I'll play the rhythm and the lead together. Super 90s, and there's nothing really crazy. I used this UAD plugin, which I just got my trial renewed. I only used it on this album, but I'd use this Marshall JMP, and then I use this Friedman, this plugin, and just use those two DI. Like I said, since we were on a time crunch, I used plugins instead of miking an amp, and then same thing with this. I'm using the Marshall, and then I ran them through my Kemper. This is the Kemper. Everything is super 90s, roomy sounding, kind of that, that 90s grungy.
Very warm, I guess if I had to equate it to like an auditory and visual like stimuli, would be like walking into like your home bar that you go to every weekend. You know what I mean? Seeing everybody that you're familiar with and just like hearing this, this song that everybody loves on the radio. It gives you that type of feel of like, oh yeah, I can sit down and hang out with a few people, have a few drinks, maybe sit down and read a book even to this, because you could, it's energetic enough while being calming at the same time. That's why I love this kind of 90s, like you were saying, Pat Benatar, Stevie Nicks type deal, because I assume, she can flip the switch and get way more energetic if she wanted to, or she could go the other way with it and get really slow, really deep, really dark. But I love that she's come with this connection in the middle. I love it.
She's great. Let me, I'll solo her vocal.
Give him your heart, give him your soul, give him your peace of mind. Pay the devil his due for everything you ever thought to leave behind. Call out
Yeah, I mean, and that soloed doesn't actually sound as good as I'd like it to, and it's just because I have it distorted to hell and back.
But you can hear that though.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like in the mix, a lot of times, like I'll have a guitar tone that like sounds awful, but in the mix, it sits perfectly. It's one of those weird things. Like her vocal soloed like that sounds real grungy and raspy and not so pretty. But like in the mix, it's exactly what it needs.
And
so
I think that's what a lot of people struggle with, man, is just like having these separate sounds and they think it sounds good by itself or bad by itself.
yeah, a lot of times when something sounds really good by itself, it sounds awful in the mix.
Exactly.
Which is
I
weird.
have that problem too, man.
Yeah, like,
every
man-
time I try to record anything, I'm just like, wow, this sounds really good. And then I try to pair it with another guitar tone, and I can't find another guitar tone that it goes with.
Yeah.
Because it's literally like I made this tone just to hear it by itself. You know what I mean?
Back in the day at the practice spot, Mr. Fowler tweaking guitar tones, yelling at us. You need more gain. No, you need more gain.
Papa Fowler.
So I'm saying shout out.
Shout out, man.
Shout out Golden.
Hey, I didn't realize he knew what the hell he was talking about at that time because I was young.
Yeah,
I
we
was just
did.
like, we know we need more distortion.
We
That's
thought-
all we need.
Yeah. I want as many Metal Zone Boss pedals as I can afford, and I'm going to daisy chain them, brother. And I'm putting them all to 11. You know me, I'm goofy. How's that song go? 01011. Oh, I hate my parrots.
I fucking quit.
No, it's so close. Oh, I think I just distorted the mic.
You clipped like a bitch.
Man, fuck you. I ain't clipping. That sounds like some slang. You clipping? You clipping, bro? All right, let me.
The Rona.
My camera will only record for 30 minutes, so we only got like 3 minutes left.
Jesus.
But so I went through Melodyne. I melodined her.
Was that
Call out his name.
an individual delay on her vocals, or is that just the reverb?
I got some crazy stuff going on, so I'll run through the chain real quick. I got Melodyne, and I learned to tune vocals from Nick Ingram. Shout out to Daddy. He makes everybody call him Daddy. I think he's the best at tuning vocals.
Hello, Nick.
Hello, Nicholas.
I will not call you that.
Nick's cool. He taught me how to tune vocals a couple years ago, and I do exactly what he does. And I think I'm really fortunate that I have him as a friend and like someone that I could use as a resource. I've learned a lot from him. But yeah, I learned how to tune vocals through him, and I just tune those vocals. And then I have her going through this 1176. Nothing real crazy, like short attack, fast release, which is kind of weird. And then Culture Vulture again, same thing. And then gain reduction 2. This plugin rips. This is Joey Sturgis, and he's the best. Everybody knows. Nobody cares. But yeah, so, and then I have to go through the Decapitator, which is what they used on Lamb of God. Dude, Soccer Mom is rocking some Lamb of God plugins right now, dude. And that's what's really distorting it. Gain reduction and then Decapitator. So I just have her distorted like to hell and back. And then, oh man, I have such a crazy vocal chain. What am I doing? This is like the whole time thing, man. This is embarrassing. So then I have this voice echo, which is like a tape delay.
Okay,
kinda
that's what I
thing.
was hearing.
Yeah. And then I have refinement, which is cutting out that high end because I have her squashed. Multi-band compression, messing with some of that high end that I took out. And then I have another EQ. Man, that's an awful vocal chain. I'm embarrassed. And then I'm sending her to some stuff like delay and reverb is what it looks like. Nothing crazy, but I got like
Wait,
this.
so you have 2 separate delays?
Yeah, actually, I have.
So you have the tape delay, and then you said you're sending
H delay is what I'm sending it to, which is a ping pong, and it's like a left and right kind of thing.
What, so you're busing it to that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm busting it to that, and then I have this pitch thing too, which I learned from the dude who recorded Silverstein a long time ago. I'll bypass all these plugins. Sorry, Mom. You're beautiful, Julie. You're beautiful, even though you're crazy. This is what it does. This pitch thing is amazing. So here's.
Call out his name, yelling his strings for all the world to see.
It's kind of like a natural doubler, you know?
Yeah.
It's really cool. But yeah, I mean, her vocal's super clean without all that
Yeah.
shit that I have on it.
She's a good fucking singer.
Dude, she's great. She's so much fun to work with too. Her energy and her whole entire demeanor. She's just very positive. Like People can be very negative. Oh man, we only got 30 seconds left. But yeah, I mean that's basically it.
You're all beautiful.
Yeah,
It's the last thing I gotta say.
yeah. Keep it 30 minutes because my DSLR is gonna shut off. But that's basically Soccer Mom. I love her. She's awesome.
You all did a wonderful job. I love this song. I will be listening to this album.
It's great. So, but yeah. So thank you guys for watching.
Like and subscribe, bitch.
Got him.
Right before it went out.